They never told you how dangerous it is to feel everything. They praised your empathy. They said you were gifted, that you had a heart others could lean on, that you carried light into the lives of people too consumed by their own chaos to see clearly. But they did not tell you the cost. They did not warn you that some people, the ones broken in ways they refused to heal, would sense your sensitivity like wolves smell blood. They did not tell you that the narcissist, with their hollow hunger and endless need to feed on attention, would recognize your empathy as the perfect supply. And so you learned the hard way. You learned what it feels like to absorb someone else's shadow until you no longer knew where theirs ended and yours began. You learned what it feels like to be hollowed out in the name of love. You learned the abyss of being too good. You have felt this. The exhaustion that cannot be explained by sleep deprivation, the loneliness of lying beside someone who only loves their reflection in your eyes, the emptiness that creeps in after every manipulation, every gaslit moment, every time you tried to explain your pain only to be told you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. You have carried the weight of their unhealed wounds in your own chest, and it has left scars, invisible to the world but loud inside your soul. This is not weakness, this is survival, but it has cost you your clarity. Carl Jung warned that we all carry a shadow, the repressed parts of ourselves we fear to face. But when you are empathic, the danger is different. You absorb not only your shadow, but theirs. You live as the mirror for the narcissist's hidden wounds, and in doing so, you begin to lose your shape. Your laughter becomes their fuel. Your silence becomes their comfort. Your boundaries, when you dare to set them, become their battlefield. And slowly, you forget the sound of your own soul. You begin to believe the lie that your worth is in how much you can carry. But there is something the narcissist never expects. They believe that breaking you will end you. They think that if they drown you in their darkness, you will disappear into it, but they do not understand the nature of an empath. For while the empath suffers, while they bleed, while they collapse under the weight of someone else's chaos, they are also learning, they are seeing clearly, they are gathering strength in silence. The narcissist mistakes your quiet endurance for weakness, but silence is not surrender. Silence is the cocoon. And here lies the hidden truth. The empath who survives the narcissist is never the same. They come out different, they come out sharper, they come out awake. They come out having stared into the abyss and learned how to walk out of it. Jung taught us that no tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. You have been to hell, and that is why you will rise higher than anyone ever thought possible. At first, you will not recognize yourself. The softness you once wore like a second skin will feel heavier now, tempered by scars. The kindness you once offered without question will now come with discernment. Where you once said yes to avoid conflict, you will find the word no rising on your tongue like fire. You will shock yourself with your own strength, and the world will not know what to do with you. They will call you cold. They will call you bitter, but they are wrong. You are not bitter. You are awakened. And in this awakening, something even more profound begins to form. You realize you are not just the empath who feels too much. You are the survivor who has walked through darkness and returned with sight. You can see manipulation before it speaks. You can hear the hollowness in words meant to charm. You can sense the hunger behind a smile that pretends to love. The empath who survives becomes something new, a truth-teller. And truth-tellers are dangerous to a world built on illusions. If this feels like your story, if you can sense the fire in these words stirring something ancient inside you, do not let it fade when this video ends. Stay close to voices that remind you of your strength. Subscribe now, not for me, but for yourself, for the part of you that is done being consumed and is ready to rise. Because survival was not the end of your story, it was the beginning. And yet, this is only the first stage. Survival transforms you, yes, but Jung reminds us that individuation, the becoming of the true self, demands more than survival. It demands integration. It demands that you not only survive the narcissist's darkness, but absorb what it taught you and turn it into vision, power, clarity. In the next part, we will go deeper into this transformation. We will reveal how the empath, once hollowed out, becomes whole again, how they move from shadow to sovereignty, from silence to unshakable presence. You are not who you were. You are becoming someone they never expected you to be. You have survived what was meant to break you, but survival is only the first chapter. Now begins the harder work, putting yourself back together. At first, it feels impossible. You are scattered. Pieces of yourself left behind in every moment you said yes when you meant no, in every silence you swallowed instead of speaking, in every sacrifice you made to keep the peace that never existed. You look in the mirror and do not recognize the face staring back because so much of who you were has been consumed by someone else's hunger. But listen closely. This is not the end of you. It is the beginning of your reconstruction. Jung taught that healing does not come from rejecting the shadow, but from embracing it. And this is where your journey turns. The darkness you absorbed is not a curse. It is a mirror. The pain you carried is not wasted. It is instruction. Every manipulation you endured has taught you how to see through masks. Every betrayal has sharpened your intuition. Every collapse has forced you to find a center no one can take from you again. This is the paradox of survival. What almost destroys you becomes the raw material of your rebirth. You begin to notice that the silence which once suffocated you now feels fertile, like soil where new roots can grow. At first, you resist it. You are used to filling every space with caretaking, with over-explaining, with the endless work of proving your worth. But slowly, the silence reveals something else, yourself. You start to hear your own voice again. It comes tentatively, like a whisper at the edge of sleep, but with each day it grows louder, steadier, more unshakable. And this is where you learn the most dangerous word in the empath's vocabulary, no. At first, it trembles on your lips. You feel guilty, selfish, cruel for saying it, but every time you do, a piece of yourself returns. No is not rejection. No is resurrection. No is the sound of your boundaries knitting your soul back together. You begin to realize that your worth was never in how much you could carry for others. It was always in how fiercely you could guard your own flame. And if saying no feels radical, it's because it is. For years, you were trained to believe your role was to absorb, to bend, to heal. But Jung reminds us, no tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Your roots have already reached. Now, it is time for the branches to rise. Each boundary you set is a branch breaking through the surface. Each refusal to shrink is a leaf unfurling toward the sun. The tree you are becoming is not fragile, it is ancient, inevitable, indestructible. You will notice something else begin to shift. The people around you will react differently. Some will recoil at your boundaries, shocked that you are no longer the endless well of yes they once exploited. They will accuse you of changing, of being harsh, of being cold. Let them. Their discomfort is proof that you are reclaiming the space they were never entitled to. Others, the ones who see your truth, will draw closer. They will respect you in ways they never did before, because true respect is born not from compliance, but from clarity. And if you feel unsteady in this stage, know that it is natural. You are walking with new muscles, untested but growing stronger with each step. Confidence does not arrive all at once. It accumulates in silence. In every moment you choose yourself without apology. Do not underestimate these small victories. Each time you honor your truth, you stitch another thread into the fabric of your wholeness. If you are feeling this awakening stir in your chest, don't let it die when the noise of the world returns. Stay close to reminders of your power. Subscribe now, not as a casual gesture, but as a commitment to yourself, to keep walking forward, to keep rising, to never again be silenced by someone else's shadow. Because you are no longer a ghost in someone else's story. You are writing your own. Integration also demands that you face parts of yourself you once rejected. The anger you buried to stay good. The ambition you denied to stay humble. The hunger you silenced to stay acceptable. These are not flaws. They are fuel. They are the parts of you that will carry you into sovereignty. Jung insisted that to become whole, we must integrate not only our light, but also our darkness. This means you must stop apologizing for your fire. You must learn to see your anger, not as a shame, but as a compass, pointing toward injustice. You must see your ambition not as arrogance, but as your birthright to expand. You must see your hunger not as greed, but as the voice of your soul, reminding you that you were meant for more than survival. This is the stage where you begin to feel solid again. No longer dissolving in the emotions of others, you learn to distinguish between what belongs to you and what does not. You begin to notice the energy shifts in rooms, not so you can absorb them, but so you can decide whether to engage or withdraw. You stop offering explanations to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop begging for love from those who only know how to consume it. This is not bitterness, this is wisdom. You are finally learning the difference between connection and captivity. And as this wisdom takes root, a new presence begins to radiate from you. It is subtle at first, a steadiness in your gaze, a calm in your voice, a stillness in your body. But people notice. They cannot articulate it, but they feel it. You are no longer the same. Something about you commands attention without asking for it. This is not performance. This is integration, and integration is magnetic. But integration is not the final step. It is the foundation. It prepares you for what comes next. Sovereignty. The empath who survives and integrates does not stop there. They rise into authority, into a presence that bends the world around them. This is where you are heading. In the next part, you will step beyond survival and integration. You will walk into sovereignty. You will discover how to transform your presence into authority, how to become unshakable, how to embody the power the narcissist never wanted you to find. You have survived. You have begun to integrate. And now you are about to rise. Something begins to change once you have stitched yourself back together. At first, it is subtle. You walk into a room and notice people pause before they speak. Their eyes flick toward you in moments of tension, as if waiting for your reaction to know how they should feel. The silence that once made you uncomfortable now works in your favor. It expands around you, creating an atmosphere that cannot be ignored. You realize then that you no longer dissolve into others. You no longer shrink. You no longer perform. You stand. And standing like this makes you sovereign. Sovereignty is not a performance. It is not arrogance. It is not shouting to be heard. It is the opposite. It is stillness. It is the unshakable presence that comes from knowing exactly who you are and refusing to trade it for approval. Jung called this individuation, the moment when the fragments you gathered fuse into a self that is whole, authentic, and untouchable. And when you reach this state, something remarkable happens. You stop trying to belong everywhere because you finally belong to yourself. The narcissist who once thrived on your confusion can no longer touch you here. Their games feel obvious now. Their manipulations fall flat. Their hunger, once disguised as charm, now looks pathetic to your eyes. It is not that they have changed. It is that you have risen. You are no longer food for them. You are fire. And fire does not beg. Fire does not plead. Fire consumes illusions until only truth remains. And here is the revelation. When you stand in your wholeness, you do not need to announce it. Authority radiates without effort. It is not in how loud you speak, but in how little you need to. It is in the calm of your voice, the steadiness of your gaze, the restraint in your movements. People feel it in their bodies even before they understand it with their minds. You are no longer performing kindness to be safe. You are embodying truth to be free. This shift unsettles people. Some will be drawn to you, magnetized by your presence. Others will recoil because they depended on your weakness to feel strong. They will say you have changed, and you have. You have stopped being useful to their illusions. You have stopped playing the role that made their life easier at the expense of your soul. Let them leave. Sovereignty is not about keeping everyone. It is about keeping yourself whole. And if this recognition is stirring in you right now, if you can feel the weight of your presence growing even as you listen, hold on to it. Don't let it be stolen when the world tries to drag you back into the old shape. Stay close to places that remind you of this fire. Subscribe now, not as an empty gesture, but as a declaration that you refuse to be invisible again. You are no longer here to be consumed. You are here to command. As your sovereignty deepens, you will notice that time itself feels different. You no longer rush to prove yourself. You no longer exhaust yourself with explanations. You choose your battles carefully, and your silence speaks louder than speeches. This is what unshakable presence feels like. The ability to move through chaos without losing your center. You are no longer chasing outcomes. You are anchoring them. You are no longer asking for validation. You are creating standards that others adjust to. And with this, leadership begins to emerge naturally, not leadership in the shallow sense of titles or recognition, but the kind of leadership that bends the environment around you. People sense your steadiness and follow it. They lean into your decisions. They mirror your calm. They respect your boundaries even when they don't understand them. You are not asking to be trusted. You are becoming trust itself. This is what terrifies those who once underestimated you. They thought surviving would make you bitter. Instead, it made you sovereign. They thought absorbing their shadow would make you weak. Instead, it made you indestructible. They thought breaking you would end you. Instead, it awakened you. The empath they used is gone. In their place stands someone they cannot manipulate, cannot silence, cannot consume. And yet, this is not the final transformation. Sovereignty is powerful, but it is only the threshold. What comes next is even greater. Turning your sovereignty into freedom. Not just freedom from them, but freedom to create, to love, to build a life so undeniable it outlasts every wound. In the next part, you will step into this final fire. You will see how the empath who survived and integrated now becomes a force the world cannot forget. You have survived. You have integrated. You are sovereign. And now you are about to be free. This is the moment everything changes. You are no longer defined by what you endured. You are no longer shaped by their hunger, their lies, their shadows. You have absorbed it all. You have walked through the abyss, and now you emerge not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be. They thought you would collapse under the weight of their darkness. Instead, you carry it as fuel. They thought you would be destroyed by the shadow. Instead, you have become the light that reveals it. You are not simply an empath anymore. You are sovereign. You are free. Freedom feels different than you imagined. It is not loud. It is not frantic. It is not the rush of escaping chains. It is the calm certainty that you can never be chained again. It is walking into rooms without shrinking. It is saying no without guilt. It is loving without losing yourself. It is solitude that feels golden instead of hollow. It is authority that does not beg to be respected because it cannot be ignored. And when you stand in this freedom, people feel it. They sense it in your silence, in the way you no longer justify, in the way you no longer explain. They call it confidence, but it is deeper than that. It is inevitability. You move as if your existence is unquestionable, because it is. And the world bends around that presence, even when it does not understand it. Some will resent this. They will whisper that you are arrogant, cold, unapproachable. Let them. Their resentment is simply their grief at losing access to a version of you that was convenient for them. You do not owe them your softness anymore. You do not owe them your silence. You do not owe them anything but the truth of who you are. And the truth is unshakable. And if part of you fears this power, remember, power in your hands is not destruction. Power in your hands is protection. It is creation. It is presence. The narcissist used power to consume. You will use power to illuminate. You will use power to build. You will use power to show others that it is possible to survive the abyss and still rise higher. If you can feel this awakening stirring now, do not let it be stolen. Subscribe now, not as a favor, but as a pact with yourself, that you will not go back into silence, that you will not return to invisibility, that you will keep rising until your presence becomes undeniable. Because this is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your empire. And now the practical turn, because philosophy without application is just a dream. You need tools to carry this transformation into your daily life. The first is boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors that protect what is sacred. Begin small. Say no once a day where you would have said yes. Let the silence stand. Do not explain. Do not justify. This is how you teach the world that your time, your energy, your soul are no longer free to consume. The second is shadow journaling. Write down the parts of you that you once denied, the anger, the ambition, the hunger. Do not judge them. Do not suppress them. Let them speak. Ask what they want. Ask what they are protecting. Integration means giving these voices a seat at the table instead of banishing them to the dark. When you honor them, they lose their destructive power and become allies in your wholeness. The third is silence. Practice deliberate silence, not as submission, but as power. Choose moments where you do not fill the air with explanations or apologies. Let the silence do the work. Let people feel the weight of your presence without words. Silence teaches you to own space. Silence teaches them to respect it. This is how sovereignty grows roots. And if you practice these things, boundaries, shadow journaling, silence, you will notice how quickly your life transforms. You will stop being drained. You will stop being overlooked. You will stop being consumed. You will rise. And as you rise, others will follow, not because you ask them to, because your very presence makes them remember their own strength. This is the hidden power of the empath who survives. They do not only free themselves, they awaken others. This is who you are now. Not broken, not too much, not a ghost in someone else's story. You are rare. You are sovereign. You are unforgettable. And your time has come. If you are ready to claim it, write it now in the comments. I choose awareness. If you are already walking this path, write, I rise from my shadow. And if you feel your true self burning brighter with every word, write, I am inevitable. Then subscribe and keep walking with us. Because the world does not need another mask. It needs your presence, and your presence is here.